All right, that's going. And we'll hit this button. And we'll get started. And turn the light off and go. Alrighty. Advil. This one don't do. Alright. Let's pull up and let's see what y'all are doing in 5.6. See it on the rules and everything before I go to 5.6. Well, let me ask y'all. When did you have one of them?
Small last year.
Or 101 or Algebra 1 or last year? Okay, so you haven't had Algebra 1 since high school? Okay, so we might need a little bit of review on some previous sections. So, let me look and see where I think I should start. Okay, I want to look and see what's in the book. I'm going to pick up. I have a good idea of where we're going to review and start, but it's probably exponents and a little bit of polynomials and factors. But I'm going to check and make sure. All right. I know what I'm doing, believe it or not. All right, first of all, I want to go over a little bit of Algebra 1 concepts. I want to make sure everybody's on the same sheet of music. Some Algebra 1 concepts that we need to review. First of all, your exponential laws. And they are product rule. And that is x to the n times x to the m. And what do you do when you have the same base? Let's take our handy dandy highlighter. Oops, that's not right. Somebody's fault. Same base, different exponents, and we're multiplying these bases. What do you do with those two exponents?
Yeah.
Together. Good job. Okay, I'm going to quit and let y'all come up here and teach. Quotient rule. X to the n over x to the m. Got the same base, and I keep bringing up the same base because some people, if I put x to the fourth over y to the fifth, y'all still try to, you can't do that. The same bases, they have to be the same. What do you do to the exponents? Try it. Good job. Power rule. X to the n raised to the m power. What do you do to the variable, the exponents when you are multiplying or raising a power to a power? The inverse rule. The inverse rule is mainly used for negative exponents. Okay, it's for make things look pretty. All right, you only use it with exponents. You do not use it with scientific notation because scientific notation is not negative exponents. Scientific notation is totally different. So inverse rules is just with exponent, and that is if you have x to the negative n over 1, you flip it, and it becomes 1 over x to the n. And vice versa. If you have 1 over x to the negative n, you flip it, and it becomes x to the n over 1. So inverse rule is kind of like an aesthetic rule. You don't need to use it, but in our culture, a lot of other cultures, they don't care if it's a negative exponent. So in the Asian cultures, negative exponent ain't no big deal to them. All right, but with us in the U.S., we like to have a positive exponent. So we manipulate the problem to give us a positive exponent. Now there's one more rule. It's another aesthetic rule. And that aesthetic rule is called the inverse power rule. It's the only thing about these boards I don't like. Because sometimes they'll do what you want to do, and sometimes they won't. Inverse power rule is another aesthetic rule. And it's used, again, to get rid of a negative exponent when possible. And that is, if you have, and this is parentheses, so it's different. Let's see. Actually, I should take these off. You should take these off. Come on, please work with me. Okay, with power rule, and I'm going to put these in red, you're going to have exponent, you're going to have parentheses, and you're going to have in the parentheses x to the n over x to the m, and you have it raised to the negative w power, or some negative power. Now, what this does, if you flip what's on the inside of parentheses, it will make this positive. So, the difference between the inverse power rule and the inverse rule is the inverse rule does not have parentheses. The inverse power rule has parentheses, which makes the difference between a cat and a bobcat. Okay? Which one would you rather cuddle up to at night? A cat. I wouldn't want to cuddle up to a bobcat, but they're both cats. All right? This cat, that's a bobcat. So it's a little bit bigger. It's got different features, meaning that the problem is encompassed with a parenthesis, and it works different from this. So when I flip this inside parentheses, I get x over x to the m over x to the n raised to the w. Now, could I use the power rule and distribute that w now? Yes. And numbers, they combine. So this was a 1 and a 2, and this was a 3, and that would be 3 over 6. X to the 3 over x to the 6, and then you could. So this is just a review, kind of get your brain thinking about those Algebra 1 concepts. All right, so we're good on that. Good review over that. Then we moved into polynomials. Polynomials, it's an umbrella term. Polynomials mean monomials. Binomials. Trinomials, and so on. I can't spell today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe I do need some drugs. Monomial, 2x, 1/2 y, 3x to the 0 or 3. Those are all monomials. Binomial, 2x plus 4, x minus 3, 2x plus 7. Those are all binomials. And of course the trinomials are x squared plus 3x plus 2, 4x squared minus 2x plus 7. And of course, a polynomial would be 4 or 5 terms. Probably a 4-term polynomial, 5-term polynomial, 6-term polynomial, and so on. I do not claim to be an artist, so I'll go ahead and get that out now. I suck at drawing, so don't say nothing about my drawings because I really suck, okay? All right. What kind of problems do we work with in algebra? Well, there's 2 types. There is the equation, and there is the what? Expression. What's the difference between the 2? Anybody want to give me a difference? Both of them are sentences. This one's more of an incomplete sentence. Say it. Okay. Okay, now we're going to have to learn to enunciate and speak loud. Okay? Do y'all want me? I'm not picking on you. Do y'all want me? Okay. Well, I don't think that's you. Enunciate. I don't want to hear. You're right. Equal sign. Then that means the expression does not what? Does not have an equal sign. Now when you see an equation, the word that starts with S that goes with equation is solve. The word that goes with expression that starts with S is what? Simplify. The equation, you're cutting the meat to eat. In other words, after you cook the steak, you cut it into a steak. Alright? You cut it, you're ready to eat it. Alright? What are you doing over here? Trimming fat before you cook it. Okay? So you're trying to get rid of all the extra stuff that you don't need. Think of it as I don't know. Think of it as you're going on a diet and you order a meal and you cut all the stuff that you can't eat. Cut out the dessert. You cut out the sweet tea. You drink water instead of sweet tea. You cut out the fat around the piece of meat that you're eating. You cut out the french fries and put in a baked potato with very little sour cream and very little butter. Or put a salad in. In other words, you're simplifying it. You're cutting it down. Here's when you solve it and you get an answer. You cut it into the meat. All right. So there's the 2 types of equations and expressions. Now, we also got something else in here in algebra, and I'm going to put it separate because some of y'all get confused on this because I used to. There, now can I move? I had a third. And you gotta know what the third thing is called? And it's totally different. graphing. And that's totally different than these two. In other words, this is more of a physical drawing. Okay, this is physical drawing stuff. In other words, I'll get into that later with you. I don't have to review this because I'm going to review it when I get into graphing later. Okay, so we don't need to worry about this right now. Okay, so in algebra you've got three categories. You've got equation, you've got expression, and you've got graphing. And I'm going to worry about graphing while we're talking about chapter 5 and 6. Okay. So, what else is there in algebra? Well, there's 4 operations. What are the 4 operations? There you go. This right here is called distributive law, or F-O-I-L. I do not pronounce F-O-I-L, and I do not pronounce F-O-I-L. I spell it. As long as I spell it. Because when you say those two words, people either think you're a dumb, ignorant southerner, because you say it without the I, or you sound like Pennsylvania nasal clerk. And you pronounce the I, or the O-I, very predominantly. So I don't pronounce either because I don't want anybody to make fun of me. So I say F-O-I-L and O-I-L. This is factoring. And this is just combining. Somebody might have not have told you that when you made the transfer over from pre-algebra to algebra and started adding and subtracting, and they started saying, okay, now you got to distribute this, and you got to do this, and you got to do this. They neglected to tell you that there's 3 operations: combining, factoring, distributive law, and factoring. So let's take a monomial times by let's say that we've got 2x. There's our monomial, and we're going to combine it with 3x plus 4. Okay? So combining means that you add. So I got a 1 here. I got a positive 1 here. To get rid of the parentheses, I distribute. So 1 times 2x is 2x. 1 times 3x is 3x. And 1 times 4 is 4. And what's the only thing you can combine now? And that's 5x plus 4. And that's how you combine polynomials. I'm doing this for a reason. I'm making sure that everybody's up to snuff before I get the factor. Okay? So let's do a subtraction. You don't believe that combining is subtracting too? And let's do one. Alright, let's do 2x minus 3x plus 4. Same type problem. We're combining. I didn't say we're taking away, we're subtracting. I said we're combining. 1 goes here, 1 goes here. That's 2x. What do I distribute here? A negative 1. Is that important?
Yes.
Yes, very important. So you take your handy dandy highlighter and you highlight this guy right here because he's going to make life rough for you if you don't recognize him. That's going to make a negative 3x. Negative 3x minus 4. And I leave it in red because it changes everything. And now when you combine those two, what are you going to get? Negative 1x or negative minus. So I combined and I didn't use any different rules. Now when we take our jump from combining to the distributive law, 2x, we just don't have anything between the parentheses. And we use our exponential laws because technically this is what we have. And the only thing we do here is add the exponents. But students somewhere forget this. They forget that this is x to the 0 and they just sit there and stare. So 1 plus 1, 2 times 3 is 6x plus 4 times 2 is 8. And 0 plus 1 is. Now what we're doing now is simplifying because there's no exponent in it, there's no equal sign. But if you put equal sign, then we're talking about solving, and we do. But right now, I'm just making sure everybody gets the cobwebs loose with this. Now factoring, you undo this and get this. Now I'm going to wait on factoring. We're going to talk about factoring later. I just want to do a couple of equations and then we'll move up to factoring. 2x plus 3x minus 2 is equal to 0. Now this is an equation. And of course, we're talking about pre-algebra. Algebra 1, somewhere in there. And what's the first thing you're going to do? Combine like terms. And that's going to give you 5x minus 2 is equal to 0. Let's go over the main objectives of algebra. Of course, I know every one of y'all know the main objective of algebra because I know your teachers taught you that back in pre-algebra and algebra 1. That's why you remember it today. Some of y'all going, I have no idea what we're talking about. That's fine. The main objective of algebra is to find the unknown I can't spell today. I'm looking for a unknown variable. That's the main objective of algebra. To find out what it represents, to find out what it is, to find out what it looks like. Find out what it is, that's finding the solution. Find out what it represents, that's an inequality. In other words, the group of numbers. Find out what it looks like, that's when you graph a function. Okay? But in order to do any of those, you have to solve for the what? Variable. So your main objective is to grab that x. But when you grab that x, what's in the way? Negative 2's in the way. You reach out to grab that x, you can't reach it because negative 2's in the way. So you add 2 on both sides. How'd you get rid of it? How's the only way to pay off the debt? No, the government paying that debt, right? When you get 5x is equal to 2. Now what? Divide by 5. And we just solve the unknown variable is. And that's an equation. Now, I've just covered everything that you need to know. What about all these big, nasty? Well, you apply the same principles. Let me give you an example. Is that the same thing we just did? This equation. Yeah, all you got to do is combine like terms. Everything that I showed you in the little review, you can solve this. There's nothing new here. Distribute, turn this negative red. And that's a negative what? 1. Don't say 0 because 0 will take out the whole second term. So x squared. This board is not doing what I tell it to. I'm sorry. X squared plus 3x plus 6 minus what?
Plus 7. Minus 2x.
What are y'all talking about? Y'all on drugs? Minus 2x squared. I thought I was on drugs.
Plus 7.
Oh. Now, usually, after you use the distributive law, what is usually next? Combine like terms is usually next. What is 1x squared minus 2x squared? Minus 1x squared. 3x minus 3x cancels. And then 6 plus 7 is, now I'm going to bring this x squared across the river. And that'll give 13 is equal to x squared. I did this one time, and a student about had a heart attack. Why would they have a heart attack? Because of what I just did.
Because you forgot to do all the negative.
Yeah, that's one reason. But what? But that's not the reason she had a heart attack. Is it she? Anemia. Good answer, but anemia. I don't know why she had a heart attack. Yes. I put the X on the right-hand side. That's unheard of. The X is supposed to go on the left-hand side. You ever had a teacher teach you that? Good. Good. Because that's like taking your kids. You got a 2-year-old. Taking your 2-year-old to the park, and your 2-year-old named Jody, and Susie is sitting over here. And that's cousin, his cousin here. And they get on seesaw. I'm sorry, the tutors call it. Down here we call them seesaws, okay? But you get corrected because you're ignorant, okay? And they're called tutor toddlers. I have never heard of a tutor toddler until I was corrected about 3 years ago.
That was coming.
Huh?
I thought that was coming.
And what's the difference between a Yankee, a Northerner, and a Damian?
Damn if he was raised in the north and was in the south.
Yeah, but it needs to go back.
Yeah.
That's the Damian. And a Yankee and a Northerner, people that move down and they're just from the north.
They're from out west.
Huh?
What if they're
They
from out
don't
west?
count. The only thing that counts is California, and they're damn Yankees. Okay. Well, then you're fine. California and Florida, they're two different places. Okay, well that don't count. But you just normal. Okay. All right. So you're down in South Iowa. You go to the park down there in South Iowa, and Jody sits on the left hand side, and Susie sits on the right hand side. Well, you come to Anderson in the park, and Jody wants to sit on the right hand side. So you quickly say no. You can't sit on the right hand side to the top because Susie's got to sit on the right hand side to the top. How much sense does that make? None. So if you ever had an algebra teacher tell you that you have to put X on the left-hand side, you need to go up slack because that's stupid. Why did I put the X on the right-hand side? To make the variable what? Which is another, this is number 1, number 2, always try to keep variable what? Positive. Don't fool with dividing through by negatives because all that's going to do is cause problems. Just whenever you can, take it over to the other side. Now, why? Later on, I'll tell you why. When we get to inequalities, I'll tell you.
That's a question. Is that why in the computer sometimes when you put an answer, if the X is negative, you give it about whole take, you put a mark on it?
Probably, yeah.
Because I know the computer system's crazy. So,
Yeah.
So that's.
And anytime you have a homework problem that you know you got right, or a test question that you know, you go do is see me after class and I'll change it for you. You don't have to take it over. If you know you got the right answer, then just see me after class.
Because it won't take 4 minutes.
Yeah. So I'll fix it. I'll fix it for you. All right. So I took that x squared instead of dividing through by negative and all that. I just picked up the whole thing and what? Brought it over here and made it positive. And if you do that, 90% of the time it'll make your work a whole lot easier than doing all that dividing through. Because on a test, what is your 2 worst enemies? Time and careless mistakes. You said it yourself. Okay, careless mistakes. What induces the other? The time induces the careless mistakes. Why? Exactly. What are you going to forget? You're going to forget the little trivial things like dividing through by negative. And then when we get the inequalities, if you divide through by negative, what do you got to do with the inequality? You got to flip it. So there's two trivial rules that you don't need to remember. And all you got to remember is just keep the variable what? Positive. That's one rule. One rule or two rules? Which one do you want to remember? I'd rather remember one rule. 90% of the time, you can keep this variable positive by putting it on the other side. So, Josie and Susie can see it on your side. So tell that teacher that told you to put the x on the left hand side, that they're present. And x is equal to the square root of 13. Well, let's think about this. What's the square root of 9? What's the square root of 16? What's between 3 and 4? So all you got to figure is this, and you'll have the square root for that, and you just keep going half and half and half. It's called interpolation. Where you take half, 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 half till you get the number you want. So 9 to 16 is 7, half to 7 is 3.5. 3.5 added on with square root of 12.5. Oh my gosh! 3.6. Now take the calculator out and take the square root of 13 and see what you get. Oh my gosh! It's a miracle. I did that without a calculator. This is 16. Okay? Now you know how to. Now you can add. You can add, subtract, and multiply. Why am I showing y'all this? Well, let's get to the fact. What is factoring? Factoring is division. Well, let's start off with something simple. As soon as you were in grammar school, you learned your multiplication tables. And if I was to tell you factor 54, 90% of you would say 54 is equal to what? 6 times 9, Hubert. Yeah, that's right, class. 54 is equal to 6 times 9. And there would be one person who would say, well, I think 54 is equal to 2 times 27. Okay, you're weird. Right? But that is factoring. And then you could also say that 54 is 1 times what? So I just factored 54. So the definition of factoring is expansion. Because what did I have here? What kind of term is this? It's a monomial. One term, 54x to the 0 power. That's a monomial. And I broke it up into 2 terms. I'm expanding it into its factors. Remember factor times factor equals product? Remember that back in? Okay, you're breaking it up into its factors. So, grammar school. Then you went to junior high school and you got the pre-algebra. And they said factor x squared. And you said x squared is equal to what? X times x. And you just factored it. And everything was hunky-dory. And then you got to Algebra 1, and they said factor out a what? Common term or common something. And you used the division and used your multiplication tables and said, what's in common with 2x and 4? So you broke it up into 2 times x plus 2. And then you got to algebra 2, and you got to trinomials, and then everything fell apart. Right? Yeah. And they told you to use this method and this method. All of them are basically the reverse FOIL method. Now, in order to do the reverse FOIL method, you have to be very good at the what? FOIL method. That's multiplication. Because the opposite of division is multiplication. So let's go back. Let's take a minute and let's go over the FOIL method. First, okay, if you're from around here, it's outer. Okay? If you're not from around here, it's outside. If you're from around here, it's inner. If you're not from around here, it's inside. And so, and this is for the FOIL method is used with 2 multiplying 2 what? Binomials. Multiplying 2 binomials. Now, if you multiply a binomial times a trinomial, you have to go back to the grandfather rule of distributive and just work the rear end off because it's just distribute the first term, and distribute the second term, and then the binomial terms. So x plus 2 times x minus 2. Okay, first, x times x is x squared. 3x. Well, I'm going to get to that in just a second. Can I be in charge for a while? 2x. I'm just kidding. That comes from full metal charge. Let me see this. I love movies. That is my thing. I can watch movies all the time. Not direct videos like the movie. I'd rather watch movies than football or basketball or baseball. I'm not that much of a caveman. But college football, I do like college football. But I'd rather watch a movie. But anyway, Full Metal Jacket. I don't know how I got on that. But anyway. Oh yeah, it was drill instructor. Can I be in charge for a while? That's one of my favorite scenes out of that movie. Alright, so what's missing? The signs. Now, I do this on purpose because you've got to, when you're doing the reverse FOIL, you've got to remember the FOIL method and how you get those signs. Okay? So, these 2 guys right here, what are they going to do? They're going to combine. Okay, remember that. And we've got outside is a negative 3x, and inside is a positive. And how do you get the sign? How do you get this 6 right here? What did we do? We multiplied these 2 numbers, and that's a positive and a negative, which makes a negative. Now remember that when we do reverse FOIL. And your final answer is x squared plus minus x minus 6. Now that's the FOIL. Now, in factoring, you're given this, and you have to reverse it to get this. And the biggest problem is this right here, people have a problem with. And that's the sign. So you have to concentrate on the signs, and I got an easy way to do it. So let's take a look at the reverse FOIL. The first thing you're going to do, I'm going to write it down first. First thing you're going to do is draw 2 sets of parentheses. Everybody can do that. Second thing you're going to do, break up first term starting with 1. Now the reason you have to start with 1 is because there are some teachers that will put some weird trinomials on a test, and they will say use the reverse FOIL or factor or whatever, and you'll just sit there and you'll use 6 times 9 all day long, and the answer is really 1 times 6 total. So always start with 1 because teachers do that. I don't, but some teachers do. Third step, break up last term, starting with 1. 4. Find combo for middle term. What have I not mentioned? What have I not mentioned this whole time? I've gone through 4 steps, and what have I not mentioned? The signs. Because once you get 1 through 4, the signs will fall into place. But what y'all do, students do, is they worry about what first? The signs, and they can't think because they have to worry about the signs. Don't do that. 5. Look at sign of middle term, and remember, the sign of the middle term, the sign of the greater number, of the bigger number, carries. Sign of biggest number carries. And you'll see when I do an example. Sign of the biggest number carries. That's supposed to be that. 6. Look at sign of the last term. Like is positive, unlike is what? And you got to remember that from the FOI on there. Get rid of that line over there. I guess it's not. Alright, so there's our, let's do an example. Let's do x squared, I gotta think up one, minus 5x minus 36. Take a minute and work on that one. I tried to turn on the air in here. I guess I got hot from field day or whatever. Now, break up, 2 steps parentheses. Now, x is easy to do because what's the coefficient of x? 1. So that's 1x here and 1x there. So that's not a big deal. 36, I I break it up. Hold on just a second. Let me move this over. I need some room. Anyway, I'm going to break up with 36, 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9. And then I go to 5, 6, 6 and 6, and 7, 8, 9 with that wraps around. So now I'm going to start with 1 and 24, or 1 and 36. What will 1 and 36 give us if I combine them? 37 and 35, right? 37 and 35. Is that 37 or 35? Nope. What will 2 and 18 give us if we combine them? 20 and what? That ain't going to help us. 6 and 6 will give us 0 or what? 0 or 12. That ain't going to help us. 3 and 12 will give us a 15 and a what? A 9? That ain't going to help us. 9 and 4 will give us a 13 or what? Wow. 4 and 9. Like we say, why put 4 first? Which way do you read? Left to right. You've been reading left to right for the last how many years? 29. Let's just say 29 years. That's how old y'all women get. Y'all get 29 and then so we'll just say 29. Alright? I love it when y'all put the 9 first. Why? Anyway, so now we've got x and 4 and x and 9. Now technically you've got the problem correct. There's no way to screw this up except for what? The signs. But all you got to remember is OIL. O-I combined in the lengths. So look at the sign of the middle term. So that means the biggest number has to carry the negative. So which one's that? What does this mean? To get a negative 36, I got to have like signs or unlike signs. So if this is a negative, that's all it is to it. And I guarantee you somebody in here is going, wow, that's easy. Why was it so complicated? Pretty much. X plus 4. Oh, you didn't listen to one too. What?
No, I listened. She said, right, yeah.
Alright, so let's do nerd. We'll do another easy one, and then we're going to do one that's a little bit more complicated. X squared plus 10x minus 24. I think that'll work. Let's put this one on. People go, well, there's no way there's no way 3 times 8 will give you 10. Or 3 plus 8 will give you 10. And they sit there and stare at it. 3 plus 8, 3 and 8, 3 and 8, 3 and 8. Well, 6 and 4 will give you 10, but that won't work. And they sit there and they try 3 and 8 and 6 and 4. And they try 3 and 8 and 6 and 4 for 30 minutes. And then they give up on the problem and go to the next problem. Because they haven't started with 1. Bush's fault. My egg is cold, my bacon is cold, and my cheese is cold. Oh well. I'm sorry. You want part of my bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit? It's cold. Actually, it's not bad. It's got that home cooked taste. I get up and cook my son breakfast. And by the time he gets through, he's like, ugh. But I can get up at 6:45 and bake my and get dressed, get him dressed, and I can cook eggs, bacon, grits, and have him at school by 8 o'clock. So I think that's pretty good for a bachelor. Well, the reason I get mine there at 8 o'clock is I just don't want them sitting in the hallway for 30 minutes. Because to me, that is not productive. I mean, it's social and that's fine, but they get that during the day. They don't need, I just don't,
Sit on the whole floor.
yeah, I don't like that because I couldn't stand when I was at Southwood. We'd get there like at 7:20, 7:30 or whatever, and we'd have to sit in that cafeteria for 30, 45 minutes or whatever time, and it just, I just didn't like it. Some people love it. I do. X, and I'm going to break up 1, 24, 2, 12, 3, 8, 4, 6, that's 1, and 24, give me 25 and 23. That won't help us. 2 and 12, you give us a 14 or what? Oh my! Let's try that. So I'm going to put 2 here and a 12 here. What does this sign tell us? That the biggest number has to be what? And this tells us like or unlike? Listen here. Now, the closest thing to playing a musical instrument in mathematics is this one. Okay? Anybody in here plays a musical instrument knows you don't just get on the musical instrument and start playing Beethoven's Field. It doesn't happen that way. Unless you're gifted and talented. When you're gifted and talented, you don't need to be tracking a pit. Okay? You need to be Yale or Cambridge or something like that. Alright? And you would have been discovered a whole lot long time ago when you were gifted and talented. So, for those of you that are normal and semi-normal like me, it takes you a lot of practice to learn how to play a piano or guitar or a percussion instrument or whatever. Alright? This, from here to here, takes 50, 100,000 problems for you to develop. Right? But, I guarantee you, this has been shown to you today the easiest that it's been shown to you before. I'm confident in that because this is the way that I learned it. Not from a teacher, this is the way that I did it. And I've been teaching it ever since. And it works. And if you follow those, now, where is the monkey wrench? Well, I'll show you where the monkey wrench is. When you have something besides a 1 in front of the x squared. And you do the same thing. Let's go with, I'll have to look one up because I can't. You got one? I'll try. 7x squared plus 17x plus 6 is equal to blank. Alright, cards. Back. So, the thing to break up this, 1 and 7. Now, that's pretty much, that's it, because it's a prime number. So, now again, why did I put the 1 first? Because that's what I read from left to right. Now you're going to be prohibitive on what you can put next because of the 17. Right? If this is factored. So 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Now, what you have to do is you're going to have to put a 1 and a 6 right here, a 1 and a 6 right here, and do your outside and inside. Because what will 1 times 6 always give you? What will 2 times 3 always give you? So the trick to doing these problems with A is not equal to 1 is the trick is to find the what? The outside and inside. That's the trick. You don't have to worry about the last because the last will take care of itself. So, 6x and 7x. What will 6x and 7x give you? Give you a 1x or it'll give you a what? 13x, Hubert. That's right, class. 6 plus 7, 13. No. Outside and inside, what do? Combine. So 6x and 7x will give you a 1x, or it will give you a what? 13x. So we don't need 6 and 1. So flip it. Put a 6 here and a 1 here. Now usually what this will do when you flip it is give you a BA number that you can't work with. And where's the BA number? 42. 42 and 1. What will 42 and 1 give you? It's 40 or 43. So 6 and 1 is what? You ever heard of process of elimination? Well, this is how, there ain't no secret way to do when A is equal greater than 1. It's just trial and error. But you've got to be consistent. You've got to have a consistent methodology. You've got to have something that's methodical that you can do every single time. Because a lot of mathematics is pattern. A lot of mathematics is doing things consistently the same way. Okay? So, I think we should just quit because it's getting too difficult. 2 and 3, right? So put a 2 here. We're supposed to say, yeah, let's quit. 2 and 3. What's 2 times 7? And what's 14 and 3x? 17x. It's a miracle. But you got to put it exactly like that. Because if you put a 3 here, you're going to get 21 and 2, and 21 and 2 is not going to be 17. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So don't change it. Put 2 here and a 3 here. And that'll give you your 3 and 14. What does this sign tell you? The biggest number has to be positive. Which one's bigger, 14 or 3? Well, you can't put a positive right here, so you got to put it. And what does this tell you? Like or unlike? So the answer is plus 2. And 7x plus 3. And you feel good about yourself. Alright, who's got another one? Anybody pull up another one on homework? I'll pull up one in just a second. And then we'll get to other types of factoring besides trinomials. This one is the one you need to spend a lot of time on because you're going to see this till you get finished with calculus. If you're one of those students that's going to go sciences, maths, you're going to see this over and over and over, so you might as well get used to it. Let's take our handy dandy whiteboard. Let's don't do that. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's see. I think I need to quit. What section of homework was that you were on? 5.6? What number? 2. The second problem?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's that one. I guess this one. Nope. Oh, I know why. That's you did homework. This is study plan. It's different. I'll find it. It's probably that one right there. All right, let's do a nerd. Well, they only give you 2 trinomials. All right, do that one. 7x squared plus 9x plus 2. I'll blow it up for you. And if you can't do it, just consider yourself a failure. We'll fill out a drop clip for you and go ahead and quit. Trying to discourage you as much as possible. Good. Oh, I wish it was raining. Then I wouldn't have to go home and cut hay down after home and doing it. I like rainy days. That's why. Exactly. Yeah, I'm surprised you hadn't asked me my favorite actress. Sandra Bullock. Okay, I'm gonna be caveman. I'm sorry.
Male.
Oh, male? Oh gosh. Oh, Tommy Lee Jones. Sean Connery, of course. Who? Oh yeah, Al Pacino. Anything Al Pacino in is great. So is Robert De Niro, Robert Duvall, Morgan Freeman, Samuel Jackson. Yes, I like Samuel Jackson more than Fishburne. I don't like Fishburne. I didn't like him in Matrix. He acted all stupid in Matrix. I didn't like him in Matrix. And Denzel Washington. So I got a lot of them. But my actress.
Hands down.
Oh, listen, she had. Did you see the article in People? Oh man, they made her look like a slut in People magazine. You ought to see the pictures. They took pictures of her. Oh, they made her look. I don't know if she wanted it that way or not, but it took away from her because she didn't. She don't fit that mold. But they got a whole write-up of Sandra Bullock on People magazine. I bought it. So I actually read it. I don't read very much, but they didn't ask her no juicy stuff. They just asked her, what is love? What is beauty? And I was like, thought they were going to ask her some good stuff. Oh well. Yeah, that's it. I have another one. Who's your favorite actor and actress? Is it? Oh God, there's a lot of them. And in fact, I gauge movies by who's playing them. If you get some dork, I won't watch it. But if Tommy Lee Jones is in it, I'm gonna watch it. Or if Morgan Freeman is in it, even though I don't care much about politics, I watch it. Russell Crowe, I like Russell Crowe. I think he's kind of out there, but I love Gladiator. I watch Gladiator. Me and my son watch Gladiator 5,000 times. Who? Yeah, but I got two complaints about the Avenger movies. I love Iron Man because I like, what's his name? Robert. Is it Robert Downey?
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, I love Robert Downey Jr. And I like Hulk. I like the sarcasm in the Hulk. And he knocks Thor out of the picture, and I think that's funny. And I like Thor. I don't understand the rest of them. I hate Captain Avenger. I think somebody should give him a girlfriend. He needs a girlfriend.
Captain America?
Yeah, whatever his name is. He needs a girlfriend. Bad. And he needs to get drunk. And the other two, what the hell are they there for? Yeah. I mean, they're just people that can get shot and get killed. What are they there for? And the guy with the bow and arrow, who is that?
That's Hawkeye.
Okay.
5-year-old quizzes me on this. That's the reason why.
I don't understand those two. And I think they should take the girl and the guy out and leave. I could take, but they need to
I think they put Black Widow in there just for the sexes.
Well, they need to get Black Widow, the Captain Avenger. They need to get them too drunk or something. Captain Avenger needs a girlfriend bad, or Captain America. He get the last movie, the movie at Ultron or Ultron. I was fixing to get up and walk out because he was like, "No, we don't need to do that. We didn't have a meeting." Shut up.
I haven't saw it yet.
He is Mr. Right down the middle. I'm not a comic book,
I'm not
Fine.
either, but
but
I got my 5-year-old hooked on them, and now
I do like Hulk and Iron Man. And I like Thor.
Transformers.
Transformers, I don't like the wussy guy. I don't like the guy.
I like Bumblebee. I like that.
Yeah, I like
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee, but I don't like the guy that rides the Bumblebee. Who is that?
Yeah, but what did he play on to begin with?
Nothing.
He played on the TV sitcom.
That's why I don't watch these.
It was, he played the little misfit boy in the show, too. So,
I don't watch much TV except the movies. Oh gosh. Going to win. Going to win, I think. Oh gosh. I've got them all. Oh God, I love the Yaya Sisterhood. I love that movie. Still make movies. I love that movie. I love Green Fried Tomatoes.
you can tell you're raised here.
I love fried green tomatoes because I love that woman that took the car and ran it into the sports car 5 or 6 times in the parking lot. What's her name? Kathy Bates. Now she is a good actress. Kathy Bates.
I like Julie Roberts.
Never thought she was all that.
I don't think she's all that,
But why all these other people do, I don't know. Just say the bullet right there.
what?
Square plus 9x plus 2. Now, 1x and 7x, y'all can't mess that up. And y'all can't mess up 1 and 2. But, once 1 times 2, it'll always give you 2. 2 times 1. But, outside, inside. So, put your little outside here. Put your little inside here. And I'm going to put a 1 and 2 there. That'll give me a 2x and a 7x. Alright? So, put your 1 there. Put your 2 there. So, x, 1, 7x, 2. What do we need? We need a positive here. So that means the 7 is positive, right? Okay. Now tell me what's hard about that. It's not hard. Now, okay, now let me tell you, if you go home and do 5 problems, you're still going to suck up. But if you go home and do 1,500 problems, you're not going to suck up. Or 100 at least. You're going to have to work on it. Now that's how you do it trinomials. Besides the shortcuts. And we're going to go with that next. The shortcuts. I call them the shortcuts. Nobody else calls them shortcuts. 1 through 5. I called them shortcuts 1 through 5 when I was a student. That's how I remember it. A plus B, quantity squared, is equal to A squared plus 2AB plus B squared. A minus B, quantity squared, is equal to A squared minus 2AB plus B squared. The only thing you have to remember is that's a plus, this is a plus, this is a minus, that's a minus. So you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to memorize 2 things, you just have to memorize 1 thing and just replace the positive and the negative wherever it is. You don't, this is plus no matter what. This is number 1. When I say shortcut number 1, that's what I'm referring to. I don't call it binomial squares and all that stuff. I don't call it, I just call it shortcut number 1, shortcut number 2. Shortcut number 1, addition, A comes before S. Subtraction. So that's why that one's 1 and that one's 2. 3. Difference of 2 squares. A squared minus B squared is equal to A plus B times A minus B. And then you got your cubes. We aren't going to use them very much at first. A cubed plus B cubed is equal to A plus B times A squared minus AB plus B squared. And 5 is A cubed minus B cubed. Why is 5 A cubed minus B cubed? Well, A comes before S. That's fine. A minus B. Again, you only have to remember one thing, and it's the opposite sign. Okay? Remember, A plus B cubed, A minus B cubed. Plus, minus. Plus gives you a plus and a minus. Minus gives you a minus and a plus. You just remember one thing. So actually, instead of remembering 5 things, you only have to remember what? 3. And that's these two. And remember, plus goes with plus, and minus goes with minus. And I'll take the highlighter here. Handy dandy highlighter. It's the same thing, only if you have a plus, you put a plus, and if you have a minus, you put a minus. So that's one thing you have to remember. This one is by itself. And then these two, I'll do them in yellow. Oh, I'm sorry, yellow. Plus means plus minus, and minus means minus plus. And that's the other. So you have to remember 3 things. A blank B squared is equal to A squared blank 2AB plus B squared, and then this, and then this one, and then A blank A cubed blank B cubed is equal to A blank B times A squared blank AB plus B squared. And just remember that if you do this one, it's plus, plus minus, minus, minus plus. Now, how do you use this? Well, in order to use these, you got to know your perfect squares and perfect cubes. What time is class over? 11:40? Okay. We'll stop right here. Now, what do you need to be doing for homework? Well, hopefully, are all of y'all on MyLab Plus? Yes? Okay, we got 2 losers. How about y'all 3? You, Ms. Burdett, you're on here. So 2 losers in the class.
I'll be on tonight.
Yeah, I'll get on. Checks in the mail, and it's only food blister. All right, so you need to, 1, get on MyLab Plus. Has everybody got their book squared away? What they're going to use for a book? Make sure you get that fixed. What do you want to use for a book? And then I want y'all to start on 5.6. Now, if you want to, go into chapter contents, and somebody look, I don't know, where is reverse FOIL? Can anybody look right quick? I don't know, I think it's around 5.4, 5.3 or 5.4, and do study plan. And you can pick all the problems you want. Or go through all of chapter 5 and hit study plan out of chapter content. Not for grades, for your own practice. The only thing that you're graded on is what's in that syllabus. 5.6 and 5.7. Okay, who's got questions for me? Somebody will have to sit talk about moving.
Yes.
Nobody's got any other questions? Yes, ma'am.